I just beat Xenoblade Chronicles 1. It's amazing. I just beat Xenoblade Chronicles 2. It's amazing. I just beat Xenoblade Chronicles 3. It's amazing. I feel like I have deja vu right now. This sounds familiar.
Our world, this vast land stretching across the remains of the Bionis, is under attack from a relentless force known as the Mechon.
Right, no! Not that way! Right!
Everyone in Allrest lived on the tree, together with our divine father, the architect.
What? If you do that, we've got to. It's the only way. On my head be it. The spark you on about? I'm not gonna let you take the fall alone.
Hey everyone, how's it going? Total Level here with probably my most ambitious review to date, as I just beat Xenoblade Chronicles 1 here for the first time, so now I beat all three of these games, the base games at least, as I did play the Future Connected on Xenoblade 1, and I did go through the Torna expansion in 2, but yeah, I haven't gone through Future Redeemed yet on 3, just because, yeah, I wanted to beat 1 first before I did it, and sorry about the glare for a second there, my bad. I'll actually put these down just in case. But, yeah, just amazing games, amazing series, so I thought I would do a versus review on these. Now, this is going to be a bit different. I'm going to kind of just go do this in one take. Hopefully this goes well. I do have some bullet points for each of these, so hopefully I don't forget any of this stuff, but yeah, and, you know, normally I would kind of, you know, break down, you know, these certain categories and then basically just say which game I liked more and all that. This one, it's going to be kind of the same thing, but just know I loved every single one of these, so even whichever game I put as number 3 on my list, it's like this, all this is still amazing, and everyone's going to have their own favorites and all that, so yeah, I'm going to keep this relatively spoiler free, right? Just cover kind of the early story stuff and things like that. You know, once I beat the Future Redeemed expansion, I might do a versus review on those expansions, and then yeah, those ones would be spoilers because you're expected to beat the base games of each one before you play those ones, right? So yeah, and how I like to do this is, you know, I like to cover kind of the story, presentation stuff, and then cover, yeah, graphics of each title. Then we go on to kind of music and voice acting. Then we do the gameplay, and then finally the replay value of each game and everything. So, yeah, and yeah, don't have X on here because, yeah, 1, I haven't beat it, and 2, it's kind of like supposed to be a side game and all that, not really connected with the whole Xenoblade universe or other characters or anything like that, right? And hopefully maybe one day it'll come on Switch or Nintendo's next platform or whatever, instead of just being on the Wii U, because I do want to play it, but the load times are they're pretty rough on that. But anyways, without further ado, let's begin just this review. Hopefully this goes well. Like, I want to do this way because, yeah, these games just meant so much, so I really want to just convey kind of my feelings about these and everything like that. So, start with the story here. So, Xenoblade Chronicles 1, basically like two titans kind of fought each other, and you know, to the point where now they're kind of frozen in time and people are, yeah, kind of living on these titans. And, you know, there's this mechanical race called the Mechons and all that, you know, these people called Homs are kind of at war with, and so they have this sword called the Monado that at first this Dunban uses, right, but, you know, he gets injured trying to use it, and, you know, kind of early on in the game, you know, a couple hours in, like, Shulk is able to use it, but as he's using it, he's getting kind of these visions of the future, but an immediate future, so yeah, he sets off on a journey to, you know, defeat the Mechon, along with hopefully, you know, using these visions to help him save a bunch of people along the way, right? And then for the second game, you're playing as Rex, who, you know, is a scavenger who gets called, you know, just a job to find this kind of object, you know, and he accidentally activates it, you know, unintentionally or whatever, as he's helping, you know, and awakens this thing called the Aegis named Pyra, and this person named Malos wants to destroy the Aegis, or wants, like, the Aegis power for himself, right? And Pyra's whole journey is, like, she needs to reach Elysium. Why? Well, you have to kind of play the game to find out, and yeah, and Rex kind of helps her along the way, right? And then the third game is about this endless war between two sides, the Kevis and the Agnes, right? And so you have, like, these 6 main characters, 3 from the Kevis of Noah, Lance, and Uni, along with 3 from the Agnes side of Mio, Senna, and Tyon, and after, you know, they kind of meet and fight each other, all of a sudden, you know, something happens where their destinies are intertwined, they become this Ouroboros, and so they have to kind of work together, you know, put their differences aside and kind of figure out why this endless war keeps happening and to, you know, stop this war, and also these, you know, find out the secrets of kind of their lives and all that, because they come across people who are aging, but for them, they only have a 10 life span where, you know, like, that they only age a certain bit, right? So they're trying to figure out the whole mystery behind that and everything like that. So overall, you know, stories on each game are fantastic. They are a lot of fun because even as I'm just explaining kind of the startup of these, like, these games just, they add so much layer on into the game. It's amazing. And yeah, then for presentation, holy smokes, the cutscenes in these games are incredible, because presentation wise these games are pretty similar. Once we get into gameplay, I'll kind of share kind of the differences, but you know, these games are presented as the single player MMO, you know, big open world, but a linear progression story, right, where you have a main objective to keep reaching towards, but a ton of, you know, side quests to do and everything like that. But yeah, and every one of these games has just ridiculous cutscenes. I think I'll cover more of that once we get into music, because it's not just the cutscenes that are amazing, it's the music. So yeah, I think I'll save all that for later. And yeah, the characters in these games are all just so likable. Of, you know, Shulk and his gang, like, you know, big bromance with Ryan, right? And yeah, just love it. And I loved, you know, the characters of Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Yes, Rex, once we get into voice acting, yes, it's a bit awkward, but, you know, I still enjoy them. And yeah, really like Pyra and yeah, everyone else, Nia, right? And yeah, just really, really cool. And but my win, I think, for story presentation goes to Xenoblade Chronicles 3, because the issue that the first 2 games had, like the first game especially, had an issue with kind of side characters, I found. Like, any NPCs and all that, they were very, very forgettable, and you know, even some side characters were kind of just like, okay, you know. And for the second game, they did a better job because you got these blades and everything. Again, I'll cover that more in gameplay, but for Xenoblade Chronicles 3, like, they really did a great job on not just the main characters, but a lot of side characters too that I really felt connected for, and it's one of the most emotional games I played in a long time too, for just, you know, I was laughing at some of the dialogue, I was, you know, very sad, like there's a lot of sad scenes in all these games there are, like they're very emotional games, and you know, there's anger, and yeah, just everything bottled up to me. Hopefully, I wonder if you can hear that. That would be a siren outside. Police siren, so... yeah, but, yeah, now I lost my train of thought. But, yeah, just with the characters of Xenoblade Chronicles 3, they just did a great job of... You know, there's still some out there that are kind of like you, just, you know, you'll not remember them or whatever, but they did a lot better on... compared to the previous two games. So yeah, for story presentation, I think Xenoblade 3 gets that. Now for graphics, so none of these games are going to blow you away graphically or anything like that. Now, I'm going to defend Xenoblade 3 a little bit because I hear so many people trash how this game looks, and honestly, I don't think it looks that bad, especially for the setting of the game, because like I said, this is an endless war going on, right? So, having kind of these washed out colors and, you know, grass that's kind of like a yellowish color instead of bright green and all that, it really fits for this game. Like, a lot of environments look like just battlefields, right? So, I think it works. Like, yes, there are better looking games, but there's also a lot worse looking games, right? So, don't think it's that bad, but yeah, for sure, you know, because of the Switch hardware and things like that, yeah, graphically these games aren't going to look the greatest, but still, I think they look pretty solid for what they are, especially being these big open worlds, you know, kind of single player MMO style, right? And yeah, so for me, I think I do like the second game the most of how it looks. I just really love the anime look. I just really like it, and yeah, and not just that, but the environments are very bright and colorful and inviting to me, right? So, you know, I think graphically I would put probably 2 at number 1, and yeah, then I would probably put 1 as number 2, and then 3 as 3 for that. Sorry, I forgot for story and presentation, like, I probably would still do the same thing. Like, I would put 3 as 1, 2 as 2, and 1 as 3. They're all fantastic, but yeah, I did really like the characters so much in the second game, and like, all these games are great, but yeah, for graphics, yeah, I think the second game I like the most. Then, we get into sound, music, voice acting, all that, so I'll start with voice acting first. So, you know, very solid, I would say, for each of these games. Now, for the second game, for sure, it is awkward for some of the characters, right? Like, you know, Rex, I don't think is as bad again as people say, but saying that, you know, he definitely can't do that anime type yell, right? But, you know, and across all games, I think voice acting is very solid for all of them, I would say, you know, kind of even throughout, you know, just the second game's probably weaker in a few aspects in that. Now, when it comes to music, holy smokes, these soundtracks are amazing, and I was saying with presentation, like, each game has their own song, basically, for these big, dramatic moments, these, you know, just movie moments, right? And the music just is so good across all 3 of these games. As for those cutscenes, I think I like the music in the second game the most for those cutscenes, but overall, the third game, Xenoblade Chronicles 3 soundtrack is just one of the best soundtracks I've ever heard. Every time I'm able to do a chain attack, I'll do it just to hear that that chain attack theme, right? It's just, you know, yeah, it's, I'm like, I'm outrageous. I don't know how to talk right now. I'm like, oh, I want to hear it again and play more of it, right? It's just, amazing. But 3, I would say, you know, is number 1 for me in this category. Then 2 would be 2, and 1 would be 3. Again, all amazing, but that's just my preference, I would say. Then for gameplay, so gameplay in all these are, you know, this auto attack system, right? So they all play very similar, but there's different elements that make each one stand out for themselves, right? So I'll start with the second game because, I would say this is probably the weakest of the 3 games, and that's mainly due to 2 kind of aspects for me. So first is the blade system, which I love getting these new blades and all that, but the way you get them is through a gacha type system. Now, I'm not really against gacha, like there's some things, you know, I don't mind or kind of enjoy with gacha in certain games, but it depends on how you do them, and biggest gripes are when companies kind of use it as like a gambling type technique to just get money out of a player, right? I don't agree with that, or, you know, kind of almost scam people out of it, right? Along with, which kind of adds to the scam, is low percentage items or wherever, and that's the problem I have with this, because the blades you want to get in this game are these kind of legendary ones, these 5-star ones, right? Where they're kind of actual characters, and there's you know, certain quests you can do for them and everything, so you want them, but they're very hard to get, even with a legendary core crystal, because you need these core crystals to open them up, and that can be very frustrating, because there is a certain one, and people know which one I'll be talking about. I won't say it for spoilers, but there is one where you only have a 0.1% chance of gain or 0.01% chance of gain, and it's like, it would be one of the most frustrating games to try 100% just because of that system, right? And then the second gripe I have is, you know, now I do have like the whole DLC, right? So it's not so bad for me, because with DLC you do get a bunch of legendary core crystals that, you know, you will open up and get a handful of these 5-star ones, right? But one of the issues with the game is certain objects for you to interact with or kind of destroy or open up, you need a certain skill from these blades, right? And you know, sometimes like it can be pretty simple to get these abilities from blades, you know, you might just have to talk to certain type of people or whatever, but sometimes they can be very frustrating, because you also have this affinity meter where the higher it is, the more the blades will level up, so that you can unlock higher levels of skills with them, right? And sometimes in the single player campaign, you can get locked out of progressing until you get a certain ability for a blade, right? And that part, I'm just like, that wasn't the greatest to me. Also, why only one save? Like, yes, you don't want people to go and cheat the gacha system, but man, one save is just not enough for a game like this. And even for 1 and 3, like only having 3 save slots, oh man. Now, I still really enjoyed Xenoblade 2, like the pros way outweighed the cons that I had with it, but just, I would say that's probably the weakest of them. And then for 1 and 3, so I really liked, all three of these, but for one, it's more kind of traditional RPG because you're actually buying different equipment like headgear, armor, leg equipment, shoes, that sort of stuff to boost up your stats, and and then you got these many quests. But so I like that because I like having just a system where you get all these sorts of different outfits. It's always fun to look at, but the gripe I have with the first game is just with its quests. The quests are just, except for a couple of them, like, they're just not interesting. Like, a lot of the times I would just kind of skip through the text because it would be like the same guy giving you like 5 quests in a row to kill certain monsters or gather certain items, right? And not the funnest, and most of the quests too, you didn't get a whole lot of experience. Some of them you did, but a good number of them, like the monster hunts and all that, would just get you money to buy more equipment. Now, part of that is probably because they figure, well, you're killing monsters, so that's your experience, right? But there were some quests that you would get experience, but not too many, I found. And then for the third game, what I love about this one is JRPGs, or just RPGs I love, are ones where you get a lot of party members, along with having the jobs class system or whatever. And this game provides both, because what this game has is this hero system where you can, as you're going through the game, you meet different people, and certain people are, very skilled, they're a lot more important, right? And so they can join your party, along with gaining their class. And man, I love that. I love that idea because it made me want to do every hero, like get every hero, do every quest for them, and just amazing. And I think the third game did the best job with quests. There are still, just kind of those ones to get quick experience, or kind of very tedious ones, because if I did a video on like pet peeves I have with JRPGs, number one would be low percentage gathering quests, because this game all three of these games have so many gathering quests, and sometimes you need very rare items, and it can take a long time before you get even just one. And that's one of my biggest pet peeves. But again, pros outweigh the cons, and the third game just fantastic. So for gameplay, I think I would put 3 as 1, 1 as 2, or 1 as 2, and then 2 as 3. And then replay value, I think for each of these games it's pretty much equal, and it's going to be depending on, one, how much time you have, because these games are like 100 hours long, and two, just how much you enjoy these, how much you enjoy kind of going through, because once you beat these games, there is a new game plus mode for you to carry your level over and do all this stuff, again, and for stuff like Xenoblade Chronicles 1, like you have an affinity chart, so maybe you got close with Rhine the first time, so maybe next playthrough you want to do more with, say, Charla or something like that, right? And so for replay value, I think all these are kind of a tie, because they all kind of provide their own thing, and it all depends on kind of how you feel about each one, I would say. So that's kind of my overall thoughts on each 3 of these games here. So just try not to blind you. So really cool. I love this series, and I want to check out like the other Xeno games at some point of X, and then I only beat Xenosaga 1. I still need to beat 2 and 3. Of course, Nintendo Directs, like there might already be a Xenosaga Remastered Collection coming, because I'm recording this at night on the 20th, so I still don't know if it's been announced yet for the 21st of the Nintendo Direct, right? But yeah, and I still have to check out Xenogears, because I know I have that game digitally on the PS3, but yeah, I haven't checked it out yet, as yeah, a lot of games to play through. But yeah, Xenoblade Chronicles, just a fantastic series and a lot of fun. And it's funny because combat-wise, like, you know, it's not my favorite, right? Like, I would prefer either a turn-based style or some sort of action style, like, you know, either a beat-em-up type action like a Tales game, or, you know, just a full-on action game, right? And, you know, so, yeah, not a big fan of the auto battle style, but I still love these games. They're still so fun to play, and it's because of how engaging the story is, along with how likable all these characters are. Like, your party members, your main party members are just so cool. But yeah, overall, after playing these three, definitely I would still say Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is #1 for me. And then, you know, the first game is the freshest in my mind, so it's kind of hard to say where I would put it, but I think I would put the second game, despite its gameplay issues I had with some of the elements, I would put #2 as 2 and then #1 as 3. I know a lot of people would put the, you know, first Xenoblade games as #1, but for me personally, I think I would go 3, 2, 1 as my ranking and all that. But like I said, I love them all, but I know the internet, even when I say how much I love something because of how I rank something, then people get mad. That's just how it is. So, anyways, let me know in the comments what your favorite Xenoblade Chronicles game is, or just Xeno game in general. Tell me how much you love Xenomorphs. So, I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you next time, everyone. Right, thanks, appreciate all of you for watching, and yeah, I'll see you next time. Alright, take care, bye. Hey everyone, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to leave a like and comment, and subscribe if you want to see more, or if you just want to see any of my skits and then nothing else and leave the video, that's fine too. Thanks everyone, take care.